Hey guys, Trev from the Struggling Artist Podcast, and I want to talk to you real quick about Struggling Artist Record Club. The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk-adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to StrugglingArtistRecordClub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today.
You're listening to the Struggling Artist Podcast.
People need to be entertained. They need the distraction.
With your host, Trev Allen.
I wish to God that somebody would do something to block out the voices in my head for 5 minutes.
And welcome to the Struggling Artist Record Club recap for November of 2024. With me, as always, the wonderful Chris Chavez. Chris, hello. How are you?
Frankenstein guts in the house. What's up?
You know the drill. We are here to talk about the record from last month and to read reviews from the members of the club, as well as give our own takes. I don't have the readout for this. I switched computers recently. I bet you it's in this like zipped up thing, and I don't have it. So I'm just gonna give my review of the album as well. So yeah. So I don't know, to get things started. This month's record, well, November's record was from Coffin Salesman. Their second LP, Dream of Fire. We got a lot to say. I mean, if you follow the podcast, you already know how much I love this one, but you know,
right.
There's a lot to say about it, and we're going to get into that. But firstly, we're going to talk about reviews from the Record Club members. We got a few. I'm going to run through the short ones, and then we'll get into the long ones.
The epics?
Yeah. So let's see. The first one comes from member Kevin. The email starts, "Hi, Trev. Hope you are well. You mentioned that you wanted some opinions on the Coffin Salesman record. I really like it. Cool band with lots of feelings and lots of feeling and dynamics. The music is interesting. Vocals are unique in a good way. I like the lyrics too. I don't know if I would call it punk, but the lyrics are kind of punk. I'm not fond of genre labels anyway. Cheers, Kevin." Kevin, nice. Thank you. I will say, so the first LP was featured in the Get Punk Club when that came out, which is definitely a much different album than this, right? It is a much different record. That is how I found this band, was through the Record Club back then. But I will say, I think this falls into punk adjacent because, one, Aria Rad, formerly of the Radicals, which was a punk band from Boston. The last album was very much like a doomy folk punk album. This one, I think lyrically we can call that punk lyrically, and this definitely falls in the adjacent one. I absolutely love the album, so we'll get into that in a minute. The next one comes from Katie. This was through we were talking. I said, what'd you think? I loved it. Definitely different than the first LP, but still amazing. We just mentioned the first LP. Loved the clarinet throughout the album. Excuse me. Oof. I feel like there are actually very few creative artistic geniuses in the world, and that Aria Rad is one of them. I'll agree with that. Agree with that.
Taking a sip of the moonshine, cleared the throat.
Yes. All right, I feel better. I agree with everything that Katie wrote. I do.
Yeah.
So, all right. This one is from Mark. I had to paraphrase because I don't remember the exact conversation that we had, but it came down to, how do we get this band on Flail Records? It would definitely fit the Flail format for sure. You know? Yeah. And then Dr. Disc from Goldmine Magazine really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Yeah. So, all right, we got through those. I'm going to have Chris here read one from
Ryan.
Ryan. No last names.
Ryan.
Record Club Ryan.
Ryan, no last name. That's who we're reading it from.
All right. All right.
This is what Ryan, no last name, says. Dream of Fire by Coffin Salesman. One side effect of listening to the Struggling Artist podcast over time is that some of the bands you are being introduced to will become some of your favorite bands. You might even start following them on Bandcamp and see notifications for new releases. I had pre-ordered the colored variant from Bandcamp, joined a live listening session for the record, and knew I was getting a second copy through the club. I'm both a record collector and listener, so I knew one of the copies would end up getting framed to go on my wall. Trev even reached out to Aria to get the cover signed for me. It's perfect on the wall. I'm a fan of darker music, so the Dream of Fire record was an instant favorite. The layout of the songs on the album was done thoughtfully, and each song flows together with the next one. The record starts out powerfully with The Teething Prophet, continuing through Prayer Hands. The title track, Dream of Fire, slows the pace down a little bit as it begins, though once the lyrics come in, the anguish is immediately palpable, keeping this musical roller coaster hurtling down the tracks. Birds of Prey is a haunting track winding down the A side of the record. Hammer Down starts out the B side matching the same slower pacing as the previous track, but launches into an instrumental chorus that will make you want to crank the volume all the way up. This is where the friggin' rock clarinet, as Trev called it, really shines through. It's a continuation of the perfectly timed tempo changes that keeps you wanting more. New Rome has a couple of tempo changes that will make you think it could be two separate songs, but it still flows together perfectly. The record wraps up the dark musical journey with the final track, Safe Haven. This record is truly a sonic masterpiece filled with sorrow, torment, and vengeance. As I mentioned, I'm a collector and listener to so my reviews often mention the complete package. The record included a digital download card, perfect for listening in the car or at work. I prefer having my own copy and not relying on a streaming service or an internet connection. A lyric book was included. It was not just a sheet. Using a booklet was a great choice for this record because in addition to the lyrics, there was more artwork throughout the pages to tie the entire album together through dark and spooky imagery. The album cover itself could stand alone as a piece of art. The cover sets the mood perfectly for listening to Dream of Fire. There's a circular image of a slightly rundown, possibly abandoned two-story house centered among bare tree branches along the sides of the picture. This is the type of image that I always wanted to create 20 years ago when I was doing black and white photography. Ryan, no last name.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
Dude, that definitely encapsulates a lot of the feel and kind of mood that this album has for sure. Ryan nailed it.
Yeah, and I'll say too, like the first two songs there, The Teething Prophet and then Prayer Hands, go so well together. You could play them as one song and it would fit. Like it's so like, oh gosh. But they also
it's almost like the We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions. Like they have to go together kind of a thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. What's the one from Green Day? Something in Brain Stew went together.
Brain Stew into I forget.
Yeah, I played those two back to back on a Struggling Artist radio episode, and I mentioned the Green Day duo, and I just can't remember what the other song is.
Yeah, I can't think of it either.
Yeah,
God
but
dang it,
they
dude.
they always played them together on the radio. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's such a 1-2 punch. But the thing is, they could stand alone too. That's the best part
Yep.
about it. You know what I mean? Like sing,
Exactly.
like fuck yeah, so good. So I'm just
Yeah,
itching
dude.
to talk. I gotta wait until it's my turn though. So all right, here we go from Dave. I'm waiting for you.
He's not here.
Dave was here last month though.
He's not here this time.
He is not. He is not. All right. Come on.
Uh-oh.
All right.
You already started with a sigh, and come on.
He says I do that.
Let me
every-
settle back
he
here
said
as you get ready.
He made it. He made it last month. He said that I always start with a sigh. So, all right, here we go. Henry dreaded the task of closing his eyes and trying to sleep whenever he finally fell asleep. His dreams often revolved around fire. Who's Henry? Who's Henry?
You're about to find out, dude.
All right, sorry. He dreamed of houses burning, forests ablaze, and his own soul engulfed in flames. His mother was in flames, and the entire planet was scorched as well. He would wake up wishing his mind wasn't so shattered. Eventually, he might drift back to sleep, only to find himself dreaming of a garden full of snakes. Ew. I don't like snakes. After the war... What period? What time period are we in? After the war, Henry took on a series of ordinary jobs. He worked at a factory, then as a butcher, and later as a mechanic. However, after 6 months at each job, he would end up getting fired for injuring his coworkers. At the shoe factory, he accidentally pushed a coworker's foot into the assembly line's automatic feeder, nearly severing it. As a butcher, he cut off a coworker's hand. What the fuck? Henry longed to shed the skin he had acquired during the war, yet the thought of removing it was daunting. It was painful. And is this like a Red Dragon novel? Like, what's going on here? It was painful, and he was already suffering enough.
This is Henry Portrait of a Killer Part 2.
Alcohol offered him temporary relief, allowing him to feel relaxed, but he never felt safe. He knew the ties of humanity were never permanent, but he just couldn't return to his pre-war mindset. I want to know what war, because the shoe factory had an electric conveyor belt. So
Yeah, assembly. Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, one night after a particular vivid dream, he awoke in a sweat and realized what he needed to do. He decided to recruit his old war buddies to start a new business. They would create coffins, and Henry would be the sole coffin salesman.
Nice.
Are you kidding? Come on, Dave. All right, now we're going into dialogue here. This next part is a reenactment of Henry. Okay, I'm just putting that out there. Knock, knock. Good afternoon. My name is Henry, and I am a coffin salesman. It's always wise to plan ahead. Accidents happen, and when the time comes, it can be chaotic trying to figure out a funeral. What if you already had the coffin chosen? You can pay for it now, and we'll store it until you need it. That way, you won't have to worry when the time arrives. You'll be dead. You're not going to worry. This is a new service, and everyone is enjoying it so far. I believe you will love it too. Most people smiled, but politely turned him down. Sales were non-existent. With the war still fresh in everyone's minds, people were looking for hope instead of despair. What war? All right. That's page 1. So Henry informed his employees that without sales, he'd have to shut down the business. A few days later, there was a fire at a local general store. Henry saw this as an opportunity to salvage his company. He went back out on the streets, knocking on doors softly yet firmly. He needed to be confident, but also caring. It was time to rescue his business. Back to dialogue. I apologize for disturbing you during this difficult time and after the fire at the general store, but we're having a huge sale on coffins. Sure, you could purchase them from Smith's Coffin Cure. Sure, you could. Sure, you could purchase them from Smith's Coffin Cure, but ours are of the same quality at half the price. He repeated this pitch over the next 5 years. Deaths occurred weekly, and people wondered if the town was cursed. It became known. What was it known as? Funeral Town. Okay. Needed that dramatic pause. Every week, at least 5 people died from various causes, accidents, fires, poisonings, and other tragedies. Henry found himself needing to hire 10 more workers to assemble the coffins. He paid little attention to the quality of the coffins. His only concern was that one particular quote was etched on each one. Brothers in arms, brothers in bloom, brother, I pray that the end comes soon. Very, very clever, Dave. Yeah. Nice. Now he's got me back. Dave has just got me back in by using that lyric. You know? No? Okay. He believed this quote was essential, and he wanted the world to know that life was filled with pain. Despite his affection for humanity, he often felt humanity didn't reciprocate. So he wished they would all die and buy his coffins. You have to buy the coffin before you die, Dave. Maybe not in Funeral Town or whatever. The funeral town, but typically that's how that goes, right? All right, so he wished they all died and they would buy his coffin. He believed it was wise to reduce the number of people who could breathe air. I'm sorry, that was great. He believed that if it was wise to reduce the number of people who could breathe air, since those individuals would not have the opportunity to inflict pain on others. Henry became quite wealthy with his enterprise in Funeral Town. However, he did worry about the dwindling population of clients due to the ongoing deaths. To address this, he invested in a condom factory.
Oh, gee.
What the fuck? He then made sure the products were faulty to maintain a steady influx of new clients for his coffins. He could afford to indulge in the finest bourbon to numb his war wounds and the complicity he sometimes felt in the fate of Funeral Town.
What war?
We don't know what war. The one that happened outside of Funeral Town, obviously.
Gotcha.
During a massive flood, a cemetery became submerged and coffins and corpses floated to the surface. The poorly made coffins broke apart. The made coffins broke apart, leaving bodies scattered everywhere. When the waters receded, Henry was arrested. I had nothing to do with this, Henry pleaded. Page 3. Your employees claim you pressured them to manufacture cheap coffins. They never told me anything like that. In truth, I hardly communicated with them at all. What? I don't know. I was busy knocking on doors, selling coffins. It was my passion. I was in a flow state. We also suspect the numbers of deaths in Funeral Town are linked to you and your employees killing people intentionally to boost coffin sales. That's absurd. I haven't killed anyone since the war ended. What war? That may or may not be the case, but someone in your organization is responsible for these deaths and the defective coffins. Your trial begins tomorrow. Have you ever noticed Dave likes to go back to court? Right? We had the Kid You Not being sued by Iron Sheik.
That's right.
Wow, there was a couple other ones, I think. Was the Bad Ops one had a court in it? Had a judge like or something? Yeah, I think so too. All right, anyway. Your trial begins tomorrow. Henry was convicted in a single day and hanged at high noon.
Damn, that took a turn.
I know. So, wait. So what time frame is this? They're still hanging. Find out. They're still hanging people? All right. Flash forward many decades, and Arya Rad was helping his mother clean out her grandparents' house, where he came across the great-grandfather's journal. It was titled "Dream of Fire." Hold on, this is fiction.
This is amazing.
Yeah, this is fiction. It was titled "Dream of Fire," the journal of a coffin salesman. The back cover featured a painting of a white cross. Curious Arya asked his mother about it, and she explained that his great-grandfather Henry was a controversial figure. I still don't know the truth about him and Funeral Town. Did he really kill all those people and sell the coffins? I just don't know. It's a dark side to our family history, son. A side we Rads would prefer to ignore. Of course, your Uncle Billy likes to get drunk and shout about it. He says Henry was like most men coming home from the war.
What war?
A damaged soul trying to survive and doing what they could to earn an honest dollar. Can I keep his journal? Arya asked eagerly. Of course. One less thing for me to deal with. Once home, Arya read the journal and was struck by the intricacies of his great-grandfather's life. He felt that Henry was a man who probably spent his evenings reading Nietzsche, contemplating the depths of the human soul. He believes Henry to be a tortured soul from his wartime experience.
And
what war? And just simply sought connection with others, but knew that humans could also bring pain. But did he truly want them all dead for profit? As the months passed, Arya began to believe in Henry's innocence. From what he gathered, Henry simply wanted to travel door to door, offer a service that was inevitable. That when the inevitable happened. Sorry. I always have a problem with that word. We're on page 4. Whew, hold on. We gotta take. I gotta have
moonshine.
Yeah. More iced tea. We should turn this into like an ASMR thing where I'm like, we can probably make money doing that. Let's see. Inspired, Arya decided to form a band using excerpts from Henry's journal for the lyrics. He named the band Coffin Salesman. I hope you enjoyed this tale, which was inspired by the lyrics from the new album by Coffin Salesman. Yeah, that's just it, right? Like the whole thing that the whole story came from like
nice.
Dave, that's why I was like, I stopped. Dave's very clever about this stuff. I still want to know what war though. It's the war inside of me, right? Hey. There it is. We found it. I am losing my voice from reading Dave's email. All right.
Epic.
Yeah. So I hope you all enjoyed the tale, which was inspired by the lyrics from the new album by Coffin Salesman. I first heard of Coffin Salesman in April of 2019 when I joined the Get Punk Record Club, which was the club before Trev took over in the summer of 2023. Since then, I haven't missed a single month because Get Punk and the Struggling Artists consistently deliver quality content. What are you waiting for? Join now. Thank you for the plug.
Hell yeah.
Back in 2019, when I first received the album, I remember playing it on repeat. I like how instead of a normal lyrical sheet, it came in a large magazine-like format. All right, so she's talking about the first LP.
Yeah.
The sound was unlike anything else. No other band sounds like Coffin Salesman. Seriously, try to name one. You can't because they don't exist. Stop trying. Mark Lind of Get Punk recently said that if he had to describe their style, it would be rock music played on a sinking ship. This is a dark album, folks, with a name like Coffin Salesman. Do not expect songs that sound like Blink-182. These tracks feel like something you'd play after a nuclear apocalypse. I imagine a mutant with a boombox on his shoulder blasting this album as he wanders through a desolate wasteland. It's music rooted in romantic nihilism. Flavor profile: amber, raisins, ashes, smoke, dread, aged in whiskey barrels.
I like that.
That was good.
That's cool as
He
fuck.
should do that more often with these, right? Maybe a little less of the 5
Flavor
pages.
profiles.
Yeah. If you're feeling down and want something uplifting, look elsewhere. This is the soundtrack for cloudy, rainy days and getting dumped by your girlfriend. Although he wrote dumbed, but I think he meant dumped. I think so. It's that kind of music that plays at the hospital after you're suffering a wave on a sunny day. I'm sorry. This is the kind of music that plays at the hospital after you're surfing a wave on a sunny day, only to have a shark suddenly bite off your leg. So what's the appeal of such bleak tunes? I would argue it's about letting go, acknowledging the world can be rotten, and deciding you no longer care about societal expectations. It's about saying fuck it all. This can be a liberating feeling, knowing you're now free to follow your own pain. Page 5. The first 3 songs share a similar vibe, slow and mellow. Picture opening a cage with an animal inside. The creature slowly peeks out, uncertain of what lies beyond. Then inches forward after a moment, realizing there's no danger. It begins to gallop and burn down everything in its way. Yeah. Song 4, however, breaks the mold. This track shoots straight into high energy with no slow introduction. It's the standout song on the album, and I wish there was one more song like it on the album. I can just picture the audience erupting like an earthquake when the band plays this live. I can attest that they absolutely do.
Nice.
And not only that, every song the entire crowd erupts to. There's never a dull moment on a Coffin Salesman show. I will say that right now. You've experienced this as well.
I've experienced a few of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like it's like, it never dulls. There's even the soft parts. Like people are still going berserk over the music. It's awesome. After that, the album returns to the style of the first 3 songs. One thing I've noticed is how certain lines from each song get stuck in my head. They linger and loiter around as the next track starts. Here are a few. I'm sorry, Mama, but I feel the long black cloud is coming down. So keep your hands steady now. We are the church, we are the choir, all swinging from the spire. And at night when I fall asleep, I always dream of fire. Mother superior, brother inferior, the world will always take that is dear to you. Brother in arms, brother in bloom, brother I pray that the end comes soon. Which he included that exact line. The album features some interesting instruments. As Trev mentioned, there's even a rock clarinet. The cello and piano add to the unique sound as well. The cover art perfectly complements the music, as Arya noted on Trev's podcast. It was created by Derek Moore, whose work Arya admires. I find this album is the best enjoyed start to finish. I agree. Just put it on the record player and let it play. As with the first album I got from them, they offer a booklet instead of a lyric sheet. I knew he was going to love that. I could see Coffin Salesman fitting in well with Flail Records roster. Hey. We just mentioned that. I would love to hear Libby Lux from Bridge City Sinners collaborate with Arya Rad and the band. As 2024 approaches, no, I think he means 2025. We've been treated to a string of great releases from the Struggling Artists Record Club, including
or maybe the end of 2024.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
There's no end in here though. But to go figure, there's no end to his email either. As 20, all right. So we're gonna go with as 2025 approaches. We've been treated to a string of great releases from the Struggling Artists Record Club, including the Bad Ups and Coffin Salesman. Let's see what December has in store.
Nice.
So you're right. It was probably the end of 2024 approaches. Hold on.
Okay.
All right. That was page 5. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for the email.
Nice.
Thanks for the once again super clever story that you included with us. I think it was great that you and I, Chris, both stopped to say like what war throughout the entire thing. You know what I mean? Yeah,
that was good, dude. I enjoyed that.
I always do. I always enjoy Dave's stuff, even though I sigh with disdain when I when I go to Stardom. Right?
Good stuff, dude.
Yeah. I wonder if Arya does have a great grandfather named Henry, or a great grandfather named Henry. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, well, the world may never know. All right, so now it's time for you and I to kind of discuss this one.
Go.
I kind of wish I went before Dave, to be honest.
Well, I'll go.
Okay.
Coffin Sale, you introduced me to Coffin Salesman. I wasn't a part of the record club when it first came out, so I didn't get it. But when you and I became friends and we would send each other music to listen to, there was one time you sent me, you're like, you need to check this out. I think you like it. And I remember listening to it going, I've never heard anything like this before. Right. And I became a fan instantly. Then I got to see Arya play acoustic in your living room. And that was it. I was sold. I was like, I'm all about it. I'm all about him as a musician, as an artist, as everything that there is to this. I saw them play at Faces. I've seen him play when they came out to Albany. I went to that show. I've seen him play a few times now, right? And every single time I've seen him play, it's just been like, we talk about how it's almost like this kind of like dark revival tent preacher thing, right? Like this fire and brimstone thing that happens with him. And it's this Jekyll and Hyde, right? It's this thing where, and I like the way Dave put it, because that's how I felt when I was listening to this album. There's many times where lyrically and vocally, he sounds like this beast, this creature that is, like when you see an animal in a cage and it's just pacing back and forth, but it does not take its eyes off of whatever it's looking at. You know what I mean? And I remember Star Wars when they re-kicked it off again in the 90s, and Darth Maul, right? There was that scene with Darth Maul and the dude fighting whatever, and then these like things blocked them off so they couldn't get to each other, and like the Jedi would just sit there and meditate, but Maul was just going back and forth like a caged animal, just looking, right? That's what it reminds me of. You hear Arya's voice do this thing where he's just that animal slowly stalking back and forth. But then as soon as that fucking gate goes up, holy shit, he pounces out. And it's just this raw, just this creature that just comes out and rips your fucking jugular out. And this entire album has that feel. And it has that feel like it takes place in a desolate wasteland, like it's the end of days. Right. And this is our last hope. This is the last hope, is to listen to this preacher, man, this fire and brimstone guy that's telling you this is the end. This is it. This is all fucked up. But, here, let me give you some sort of semblance of reprieve, something to give you maybe a little bit of hope, but then I'm going to take it away. Like, it's insane. This album is so good, dude. It's funny because I bought it initially, not realizing it was going to be a record club thing as well. So Jim got to reap the benefits of it because he got the copy that came in from the record club.
Nice.
But yeah, man, I'm always telling people about Coffin Salesman. Like, they got to check this out. And this is one album now that I can literally be like, this is as close as you get to what it feels like to be at a live performance. Like, if you listen to it, everything on this album is what it feels like to be at a live show, one of their live shows. It's so good. Like, I listen to it and I can just see them. I see them on stage and I see Arya doing his thing and real soft spoken and singing a certain way. And then when that's it and it unleashes, step back because your face is going to melt. It's insane good.
Yeah, man. Again, I don't have the readout to say everything I wrote there, but that's okay. Because I will never shut up about this record or about this band. One of the most unique things about them, and this is why, like, it's when people say punk rock, like, I don't take that as like a specific sound, right? It's about doing what you want to do. This album, this band, like, you can't put them in a genre. There is no real genre. So to me, you can't get much more punk rock than that. You know what I'm saying? It is super dark and it is super bleak. And like what Arya said when we talked on the podcast, that's okay. You don't have to have hope at the end of these things, right?
Right.
It can just be what it is. You can and that's something I've always taken, like I've thought that way forever. A lot of my writing is like that. And maybe that's why I connect with this band so much. But like, Yeah, you don't have to have a happily ever after in your whatever.
Not every cloud has that silver lining, right?
Yeah, like it's real. Like this is more real than anything like that's out there. I think the sounds on this record are wonderful. I am someone who constantly looks for, like, I need different sounds. I don't know if it's to keep my attention or whatever, but they deliver with every song. Everything in this album. I agree with Dave. This is one you just put play and you play over and over. Now, I don't want to give too much away because we're going to be doing the favorite records of 2024 coming up for the next turntable. So, but I will say that this album set a really high bar for me with finding music that was going to even come close to how good I thought this one was.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and like we said, like I can't say anything at this moment more than what everyone else has said because I agree with everything that's been said. You know what I'm saying? Like just the work that was put into making the record, the sound of the record, the lyrical book that comes with the record, and all the artwork that comes with that. You just can't get much better than that. I agree. And as if we were talking about live performances, I have never seen a band like that plays like as hard, as crazy or whatever as this band. They just blow you away every time. Watching people, I remember the first time I actually just kind of stopped, like not just focusing on the band playing, but looking around and seeing how everyone moves to this band. Like it's incredible. It seriously is like a Pied Piper moment. Like they are under the control of the Coffin Salesman music. It's a wonderful thing, cool thing to watch. One of my favorite things is to bring people who haven't seen them perform before and watch them see them for the first time.
Yeah.
Like that's how crazy is that? Like that's something, you know what I mean? Like I want to watch people experience this band for the first time.
Yeah. No, I get you.
It's yeah. I can't say it, like I will say, like I went to the Miracle on Calm Ave show and Aria did a solo set there. Dave Wells was there, and like one of the things that Dave Wells said to me, because he was talking about the podcast and everything and how good it was like your podcast needs to, like, is going to help people like him, and pointed out Aria, like, become famous, like, and he's like, and I bet you that guy doesn't even want to be famous. So like because like it's all pure, right? Everything from Aria's writing to the music he puts out to everything. Like he is a genuine person. This is like
100%.
He's not trying to make the next greatest rock and roll album, but it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like
he's letting the fire out is what he's doing. Dude.
Yeah, and like just that being that genuine person, and that's what is gonna make, like, that's what's gonna slingshot him into all this,
Yeah. No, it's good shit, dude.
Yeah. So, Dream of Fire, like there was songs. So there's a few songs on here that they've been playing for a while live. And like with me, like, I think you've heard me talk about, like, listening to a live album to me, like, sometimes doesn't really hit because you don't experience that thing that's going on. Now, watching a live performance and listening to a recorded album, like a studio album, might not do the same thing, but this one does. This one does. This one, it puts out as much energy as you get out of them live.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
For real. It really does.
So, Dream of Fire. God damn, I'm kind of mad I didn't pick up on the war reference, because, like, man, Dave was very clever. That was my favorite review by Dave, I think.
There you go.
Yeah, so because it was just the cleverness of it, so
you should print out just the story and then just kind of like slip it inside with the record. Just keep it in there together.
I think I'm gonna
story he put together.
I think I'm gonna. Yeah,
it's a cool thing.
It was a cool little story. Dave is a very creative guy. So but the record was awesome. Listen, if you're not part of the record club and like, go get this album. Go get Coffin Salesman, Dream of Fire. Bandcamp. Listen to it on Spotify, whatever. You need to hear this. Like, I cannot push enough how awesome this record was. I just can't. Like, I don't think I have I would have to be up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just to shout from the rooftops about it, you know?
Yeah.
Go check it out. Seriously. I don't care that you're not a member. Just go listen to it and then realize what you're missing by being part of the record club, and then join.
Oh yeah, dude.
Then join. So that's it, man. I don't think we, we've
nothing else to say, but go listen to the album.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, let us know what you think. Trev at thestrugglingartistpodcast.com. If you want to just text us what you think, you can text 774-570-1552. That is the Struggling Artist podcast hotline. If you'd rather leave a voicemail, you could also call 774-570-1552. Leave us a voicemail what you think of the Coffin Salesman album, Dream of Fire. Yeah. All right. Well, let's go. We got to go. It's over.
Yeah.
This is it. We'll see you guys next month to talk about December's record.
Nice.
And I have a feeling a lot of people are going to enjoy that one too. So,
and keep an ear out for our 2024 records of the year.
Yes, that will be out the first Friday in January. That will take the place of the turntable episode. So, all right. That's it. We'll see you.
Cool. See you.